Hello and welcome to this new podcast, a conversation with Craney. Just a quick description of what's going to be in store. Conversations with Hartpury alumni and some current students and players, just about their time at the college or university, how it's benefited them, their experiences here, and then hopefully some funny stories along the way. Hope you enjoy. I'll go record. So first question would be, what does Hartpury mean to you?
So obviously Hartpury, since the age of 16, has been a huge part of my life. The first 2 years of college, the first 2 years I was at Hartpury was obviously with the college team, and I owe them a lot for my development in rugby. So I came to Hartpury with not a lot of credentials next to my rugby career. The reason why I went to Hartpury to begin with was my best friend from back home, his older brother went.
Okay.
And he said to me, he knew that I was very serious about rugby and my kind of aspirations. And he said, mate, if you're going to make it or you're going to have a go, Hartpury's the best place. If not, then you have a great time. So that kind of just sold me on it. So I went to look around Hartpury at 15 in one of their open weeks or like trial weeks that they had. Could not believe that this sort of facility, this sort of lifestyle was available to me.
Nice.
So after spending a week there of doing, I think it was a trial of the BTEC, I think it was, just to get comfortable to it. I just fell in love with the place. I just told mum and dad after the week, I was like, I want to go there. There's nowhere else I want to be.
Nice.
The rugby just looks amazing, as well as like the lifestyle side of things. Obviously, after the conversation with mum and dad, and I managed to do okay in my GCSEs, the door for the A-levels opened up.
Okay.
Which was something that my mum wanted me to do, to push me towards. Obviously, rugby, it's always been a dream, and however, it's a short career. So mum wanted me to try and have other avenues open to me or options. So the first year, I rocked up at Hartpury, played for the twos predominantly, and then managed to push away to the ones. On a snowy day, I managed to rock out for the fifth team, which was quite fun. So I thoroughly took advantage of every opportunity available to me. Alan Martinovic, who was the head of the ACE and the first team at the time, put me into a fitness course, which I had to do every Monday and Friday mornings, which was interesting. Early in the morning to try and get myself a bit fitter. So I've always been a big fella, and he was like, if I can up my involvement, then there'd be a real chance of me. Which, luckily, those Monday and Friday mornings really shed the weight off me, which was well needed.
Nice.
Which then put me in great stead for the second year. One of the biggest accelerators, if you like, of my progression in rugby was we actually managed. I was lucky enough that the time that I was there, we went to the Sanex World Tournament in Japan.
Okay.
Which was an unbelievable experience. I mean, apart from everyone at some point or another getting food poisoning over there, the rugby was absolutely amazing, and just the opportunity to play different styles of teams. So obviously there was an Australian team, there was a New Zealand team, there was a South African team. It was just a different experience to what I would have had if I stayed at home at my local sixth form. It's different to a lot of colleges, even the ACE ones that we played against in the weeks. Just showed kind of like the standard that Hartpury was set in and how much of an opportunity it was for me. And then in my second year, we managed to progress, and I was lucky enough to captain the side, which was another big step in my progression as a person as well as a player. And then in that year, managed to play for the Saturday team, which was at the time in National 2. So as a 17-year-old lock, it was a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
Facing some of these
At
these
the
men,
coalface.
oh god, yeah, they just wanted to teach me a few lessons, and they were tough to swallow at points. But it definitely progressed my game more so on the set piece side of things. So the pressure in the scrum was something I've never faced before prior to that. So at Ace, being one of the bigger lads in the team, scrum time wasn't too much of a struggle. I could kind of lock it out. And then as soon as I start facing men that are heavier than me, that were a bit more streetwise, having someone at 8 who's trying to fire me forward and then a prop that's not moving, my spine was getting... So yeah, like all of these just kind of accelerated my learning curve within rugby. So before, my knowledge about rugby was pretty limited. My local rugby club did an amazing job with me, but at the end of the day, they were just dads and volunteers that were coaching, that were just kind of coaching off their experiences and what they had done in their rugby life, which was obviously the playing for my local team's first team. So then then step up to having ex-professional players being my coach, or like coaches that have been involved with academies or actually had really high level of coaching behind them. It just took my understanding of the game to the next level. And then I was lucky enough to get picked up by the England under-18s. So in like 2 years, I went from having no credentials to actually understanding what I wanted to do. And then that then led to me getting a contract with Gloucester.
Oh, brilliant. So would you say the whole time there, from your year 1 to year 2, where you progressed all this, Hartpury just based it around development? So would you say you were not one of the lucky ones, but you were picked out as maybe someone that had what it took to progress to that next level? So they invested a bit more time into you, or?
So like, obviously when I first turned up, I was not one of the big names that there were. So Hartpury have a big pool, obviously, being one of the best college teams in the country. They kind of talk to people early doors, and I was definitely not one of those. I heard through a friend, and the more I looked into it, the more I fell in love with it. So when I first rocked up, the opportunities for me were similar to everyone else. I don't feel like they invest more time into certain people. They give everyone the same tools, and it's up to you to how you utilize them, I feel.
Yeah.
So prior going to Hartpury, I'd never been in the gym. So went to Hartpury, then realised that I had to do work not only on the rugby pitch but off it to improve myself. As I mentioned before, I was a big lad, but a lot of it was puppy fat.
Yeah.
I've still got that puppy fat. It's just not the same quantity.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So they give everyone, I feel, a lot of tools to work from and opportunities, and then quite like a lot of things in life, it's about taking those opportunities. So I was lucky enough that I had the outside of rugby support with the fitness things that I put on for me, as well as then the gym was there then available.
Yeah.
And I feel like not only just they're not trying to create a load of rugby players that are just going to be professionals or whatever. Like that is an aim for the club, the college, to have a lot of these professionals come through. But a lot of it is about personal development as well.
Yeah.
So I've obviously made friends for life at Hartpury, which is amazing, and I feel like that I'm a lot better person when I finished the college than when I started, which is great for a 16-year-old who then turns 18. You're starting to become more of a man and kind of want to know what you want to do with your life. Fortunately, I've managed to get my dream, which is to become a professional rugby player. But I've got friends who come out of the college who didn't quite get to their aspiration of being a professional player. For no fault of their own, a lot of boys worked their socks off, and unfortunately it didn't work out for them. But they're now on the right path of what they wanted to do now, and they're doing amazing. So you really evolve as the person as well as the player, which is just something that a lot of people don't really talk upon.
Yeah, nice. Next, we've gone through when did you attend and what course. Favourite coach's memory? This could be from your time in college or when you said you stepped up to the Saturday side with RFC.
So what, a coach influence or what?
Anything. So favourite memory could be good.
Of being at Hartpury?
Yeah, favourite coach's memory. So what they did, influence, anything.
Oh, so this would be so obviously when I was at Gloucester, I was then on loan to Hartpury as we went through the leagues, and One year we played Darlington away.
Yeah.
It was in our unbeaten year. Just going to slip that one in.
Nice.
And we went all the way up to Darlington, stayed the night before. Great crack on the way up. I think we watched the Gloucester game that night. And then in the morning, woke up, got ready to go to the bus, go to the game. And I had just like a niggly feeling in the back of my head that I was like, Bat, I don't think you packed your boots.
Oh, no.
So I went to check my bag and sure enough, absolutely no boots in sight. So panicked, went and told Pasty, the head coach, and was like, Pasty, mate, I've made a big error here. I've got no boots. So
how was his reaction, first of all?
Well, I mean, a lot of tutting, sighing, eye rolling. A lot of emotion was flying about. Could barely speak. However, fear not. My best mate, Wayne Thompson, scrum coach. Obviously, he was my college coach as well growing up. He stepped in, my knight in shining armour, and was like, Bats, don't worry. There's a sports direct around the corner. Chuck me some money and I'll pick up some boots for you. What size are you? I was like, I'm size 13. So he's like, okay. So we go to the game. Obviously, I'm bootless at this point, but all intention of playing. Warm-up begins, still got no boots, so I'm just waiting in the change room, and Wayne comes running in, and he was like, mate, I've got you some boots, but there was only one pair of boots there that were size 13. I was like, mate, don't worry, like, it's absolutely fine, like, you're absolutely legend for doing it for me. Just get me on the pitch, and that way Pasty can finally have a little breath. And he whips out these vintage Patrick boots.
The old ankle ones.
Oh, God, they... I mean, if that's your style, that's fair play to you, but very much not my style. They should have been kept in the 80s where they're probably invented for. And so I've then rocked up at Darlington in their stadium. If you've not played at Darlington, they've got their massive stadium there in these hideous Patrick boots, which did not fit me that well at all. They said they were 13. They did not feel like it. So I was getting blisters. I could barely run. Minging. However, my ankles had never been sturdier. So, I mean, it's a bit of give and take.
Every club.
And I've just managed to get through the game feeling like that I've done enough to play well, but not too much that there's going to be a load of photos of me in these boots. Yeah. That sort of range. So I didn't make any line breaks where the camera was going to be on me. I was just industrious about my job, and I thought, okay, here we go. They're fit for purpose, but they're going to stay in Darlington. They've done their trip. Yeah. Unfortunately, Wayne then found it funny to call me Patley, and he still calls me Patley to this day.
Quality, brilliant.
So
were there any pictures? Did you get snapped?
There was only one photo, and I was in the background, luckily. So you can barely see, but like at the same time, you can see enough.
Yeah. Okay. Good memory. Moving on from that, what's your most memorable game?
Memorable game. I mean, we've lucky enough. So I've played from National 2, National 1, and then the Championship. So winning that unbeaten year, the final. I mean, every game that year was pretty special because the belief that we could do it was growing. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of rumours early on which no one paid attention to. Then by the time you get to Christmas, you feel like, okay, no, we're still in this now. And then every game, teams are talking up about being the ones to end the streak or being the ones to beat you. And then we won the league, obviously a few months early. Yeah, with that far ahead, and then the hunger of the boys just to stay in it. And then that final game where we won to get the unbeaten season. I mean, you talk to a lot of people. Not many teams manage it.
No, I think it's the only team to have it done, isn't it?
Well, National 1, there's a lot of good teams and there's a lot of long trips, big challenges, and the fact that for the whole year everyone stayed on task, it was amazing. So that was a big moment. But in terms of an actual game, obviously both Ace League finals when I was in the college was amazing, and the one that I captained was huge.
Yeah, nice.
But I reckon for me, like some of the champ games last season, where, especially before Christmas when we went on a bit of a winning streak.
Yeah.
We had a great group of lads playing. We were playing some decent rugby, and I'm just trying to think. Okay, so my absolute favourite game I've ever played in for Hartpury would have been in college at that Sanix tournament. We played against the South African team in the semi-final, and it was a brutal game. They came on the pitch to beat us up, basically. So rugby-wise, we were far superior to them. We had some very good players. I mean, we had Elish Genge playing, who was just lighting up the tournament. We had a lot of talented lads. Jacob Perry, who obviously came through Hartpury as well, and he played for the Saturday team. So we had a lot of good players out, and they just came on the pitch to try and do what they could to make it an absolute dogfight, which for a back was probably, they'd be thinking back, sounds a terrible game, but for a forward, it was a lot of challenging scrums, a lot of like close contact in the breakdown, a lot of close contact in the carry area, and we managed just to stick together, and it showed a lot of character about us. So we went through that season being unbeaten in the Ace League, and we won the final, which was amazing. It was the first time we've actually probably faced a big mental challenge in terms of like a team wanting to hurt us, wanting to beat us up, and we stuck together and we won the game, and we got ourselves into the final of the Sanix World thing. So
amazing.
that was a special moment, I think, and to do it away from home, so it was different time zone to my mum and dad. So I managed to speak to them when they finally woke up and we were going off to bed or whatever. So it was nice to share that, and it was probably my first taste of what it could be like to be a professional. So being away from home in a different country against a team that spoke predominantly Afrikaans, so it was like a lot of different factors, and it was just a special moment. And being only 16 at the time, like I could not have imagined myself being in that situation. So it was quite surreal at the same time. So it just showed like the opportunities that were presented to me.
Was there almost, so like you say, at Hartpury, it's quite, in England, it's known as being one of the best colleges for rugby in the country. When you played that international tournament, was that air of, it's Hartpury, or were you almost like an underdog there? Did that pressure come along with playing?
So we turned up, and this New Zealand team were pretty amazing. So we were watching them, and they had some boys who were, their skill level was far superior to what we had. We had a lot of lads who were skillful in their own right, but we got away with a lot of stuff by being a big forward pack that were physical, and then we had some skillful backs. But this New Zealand side, St Kenton, I think they were called, they were special. So their forwards were physical, but they all had the skill set to match. Their backs were almost as big as their forwards. They were a strong team, and we faced them in the final. And we obviously, being Hartpury, we had a lot of belief in ourselves. We were used to playing good sides, and we were used to coming up on top. And quite early on into the game, they scored, and we just got nowhere near them. And I feel like, okay, the penny dropped that we're in for a very tough game. I think they've had a few players from that team who's managed to kick on into different regions in New Zealand that I've kept my eye on. So it just showed kind of the quality we're in. And I mean, there's probably a bit of arrogance that we came into that thinking we just won the Ace. The day before we flew, we won the Ace final, and then we flew and went to this World Tournament, and we kind of walked ourselves to the semi-final. Had a tough game against the South African team, and then we played the New Zealand team after. And I mean, credit to the boys. We were on playing really well, and we just kind of met our match a little bit. And they took some opportunities, we didn't take some, and they managed to win. So it was an amazing experience to play teams that were kind of a different caliber to what we had been used to. And played a different kind of brand or style of rugby.
And what an experience as well as a young lad coming through,
Oh God, yeah. No, so I mean, like I said, when I was 15, kind of weighing up my options of what I could do, I was looking at local colleges in the Ports of area where I'm from, and rugby was always a passion of mine. So there's only been ever two things I've ever wanted to do. So between the age of, well, whatever, 2 to 6, I wanted to be a Blue Power Ranger. And then from six onwards, I wanted to be a rugby player. So like to finally live that dream and to have those experiences was just a year before was alien to me. I didn't think that was going to be possible for me. And then I managed to be catapulted into the Hartpury bubble, and a lot of doors then became available to me. A lot of avenues were there, and opportunities and experiences. So, I mean, going back to the question at the start, what did Hartpury mean to me? It means a lot. It means opportunity. It means that I could do what I do now. It gave me a chance to live my dream, which I will forever be thankful for.
Amazing. Moving on from that, best player you played with at Hartpury. So obviously many special players in your year group, I imagine, but is there anyone you can single out?
Best player? What is this, at college or everything?
Everything.
So at college and moving forward, I mean, I've got to mention Ellis Genge. He was number 8 when I was at college, so he was not as heavy as he is now, but he was a lot quicker and scarily powerful. So
I came up against him, unfortunately, and I felt the wrath of it.
Yeah, so he was outstanding. He was my captain my first year, so he had that air about him of that he was in charge, and he made sure everyone knew that. But having him on your team, you knew that he was going to do everything in his power to win, and that's something amazing. Johnny Hill was also a year above me at college, and a second row, and his line-out work and then his skill set. I remember we played against Prince Henry's in my first year away, and he put an audacious grubber through, and we scored off it. Just like his vision to see that was on, and then the skill set to execute it. Just kind of, I always knew he was going to go well. And then when he moved from Gloucester to Exeter, and then seeing how his game has developed since then, like he's easily the most informed second row right now, I think, and definitely. He's playing unbelievably well. So those two are probably the two special mentions. But in terms of actual best player I've played with, that unbeaten year with Hartpury, Jake Pelledri was untouchable.
Was he? Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, he's got absolute custard rig. He's got kebab legs. Yeah. But oh my God, we'll score a try and we'll be praying for the team to kick it long to him. Yeah, because he'll just see off the first few defenders, probably make a half break or a full line break, and we'll be back right on top of them. He was just his ball carry ability was amazing, and quite often he was the difference in the game, or he would spark something in us. And it's something that when we were in National 1, a lot of people kind of just said, "Oh, he wouldn't be able to do that at the next level." And then he seamlessly stepped up to Gloucester, did the same, and then seamlessly played for Italy and has done the same. So it just shows kind of a player that was playing for Dings just before, picked up by Hartpury, developed, and then you're just seeing him flourish now on the big stage, which happens so often with players. I mean, just looking at their kind of alumni of who's playing where and how well they're doing, it just shows that it can't be a fluke. It can't just be it can't just be down to it's just Hartpury. There's something that's going so right. And to touch on that, what I truly believe is, at 16, like I said, you're given a lot of these opportunities. Yeah. So it's all down to the individual of how much of that you utilise. You live, so you study. Don't get me wrong, you study and you still live that college life, but at the same time, away from the college, you have the opportunity to be as close to a professional player as you can. Yes. So you train times a week. You obviously play on a Wednesday when you're at college, and you have access to a nutritionist, an S&C coach, physios, some unbelievable coaching. So for me as a second row, I touched on Pasta before. So Mark Cornwall, his knowledge in the line out, and obviously you hear him shout a lot about detail, was next to
Favourite
none.
word.
Our favourite word. So it was next to none for me. And I turned up to Hartpury, like I said, a bit of a fat lad who was tall. I could not jump in the line out. So instantly they're like, well, if you look in the Premiership, what second rows don't jump? And that's the answer is absolutely no one.
No, yeah.
So I had to progress that. And then on the same side of that, I then was given the opportunity to call. So then my thought process and game awareness and understanding behind that then got accelerated. And it's all down to the coaching.
Yeah.
How much of that you retain is down to you, and how much that you implement is down to you. But it just can't be a fluke. And it's not just forwards that progress. It's obviously there's a lot of backs now. I mean, number 9 seems to be the hot position at the moment, where every 9 that kind of turns up is just electric and goes forward. So it just shows that they give you the skills or the tools to use, and it's up to you to how you use it. And then the possibilities are literally endless.
I suppose if everyone sees that pathway that's happened before them, and no doubt will happen after them, it almost gives you that extra bit of motivation when you're doing these extras, working hard, that you think, oh, that could be me one day.
Yeah, massively.
Lovely. And then next question, we probably already touched on it a little bit, but how has your time at Hartpury helped you get where you are today?
So it just got me into the shop window, really.
Yeah.
It put me out there. So I was playing against the best talent in my age group at the time, constantly. And that whole thing of like, you only get better when you're challenged.
Yes.
So that first season that I had, it was a very steep learning curve. I had some good games. I had some shocking games. I went to a few long away trip games, did not get on. So it was character building. Like just the actual development for me. So I was touching upon the 2 years, but that first year was huge. So I kept changing between the first team and second team. And the second team at Hartpury, we played probably nearly every Welsh team we could think of.
Yeah.
And the how abrasive they were to play an English side was pretty. Even for an under-18s team, it was like they wanted to do anything they could to beat an English team. And then, as you learn through, a lot of teams just want to beat Hartpury. Yeah. Because Hartpury have now worked really hard to get this reputation, to get this this kind of aura about them when they turn up to games. Like, people tend to up their standards just to try and get a win. So it was so important for me just to get those minutes under me, kind of feel out some of these games, like improve every time, take the learnings from everything that I did. And then by the time the second year came and I was more predominantly I was in the first team, I just look back at like all the learnings and all the progressions that I made, and made everything a lot easier, which then helped me get into the England 18s, which then I met new people, new styles of coaching, new ways of seeing the game, and things just kept progressing from there. And then Gloucester picked me up, and it just catapulted. Like it's amazing how things start to take momentum. So obviously rocked up with I played for my county, couldn't jump a second row. To then by the end of the 2 years, I was fully signed, like a second row that could play back row, who could call on the line out, had some England honours under me with the age grade, into a fully fledged academy. So that was in the space of 2 years. I mean, when I look back now, it's mental how quickly that went. And whoever asked me, I say that the Hartpury was the best 2 years of my life at college. Yeah. Away from the rugby, just like the friendships and like the good times that we had, alongside with the studying. I mean, the rugby helps because it gives you that social aspect, and there's a lot of boys there. So for me, coming from Portsmouth, where football was everything, then go to a place where everyone's sole focus was rugby. Yeah. was something that I could not believe that so many people had the same passion that I had. And
Yeah.
then it drove me to then become better because I could see all these other boys working.
Yeah.
So then it made me want to be a better player and a better professional almost.
Oh, quality. And then finally, just need a little bit of word association. So there's a couple of things that are like synonymous with Hartpury. Just first word that springs to your mind. So Hartpury breakfast.
Hash browns.
Hash browns. The Gilmans or Al Passerina.
Friday Night Lights.
Wednesday nights.
Liquado.
And finally, pasty.
Detail.
Nice. Brilliant. That's us, mate. All done.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's all done.
Sweet.
Thank you very